The J.K. Rowling saga continues. Many of you may be familiar with the musings of Miss J.K. Rowling, the creator of the Harry Potter series, as she has gone on Twitter to retcon her series to make certain characters gay or people of color or whatever. Many people saw that as pandering to the woke outrage culture of Twitter. Well, eventually it came back to bite her in the behind because she tweeted in defense of a woman who tweeted that biological sex was real. So then, according to the principle of woke outrage, J.K. Rowling becomes a TERF, a trans-exclusionary radical feminist by proxy, and then in turn herself. It's complicated. I don't know all the rules, but suffice it to say, she dared cross the woke outrage left, and now they're resurfacing old critiques from decades-old movies to come after her. You see, in the Harry Potter films, they have a very peculiar depiction of what they refer to as a goblin. And the goblins are little hook-nosed creatures who are cunning and clever and covet gold. And they're bankers. So many people, when it first came out, gave a look to each other like, this kind of, is this anti-Semitic? But most people said nothing. And from then on, no one has really cared that the goblins are hook-nosed little bankers, even though some people did think there might be some anti-Semitism in there. Maybe it was an accident. Well, here's the thing. You see, J.K. Rowling, because you've crossed the woke outrage left, they are now going to say, no, you're an anti-Semite. That's literally what's happening now. You see, once the floodgates have opened, it's all going to come rushing back. So they're digging into a very, very old movie series, now we're over like a decade or so old, to say, yes, J.K. Rowling, you are anti-Semitic. First, we had the whole controversy over the trans tweet thing. We then see this story. This is from Hey Alma. I don't know what it is. It's just some website. There's probably a bunch of stories that are similar. And they ask this: are the goblins in J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter anti-Semitic? Even if she didn't intend to, many people find the creatures offensive. And that was 6 days ago. Well, using the principle of Purple Monkey Dishwasher on the internet, we can then surmise that it would take only about 6 days to get Harry Potter's Gringotts goblins are definitely anti-Semitic propaganda. The principle of Purple Monkey Dishwasher is a reference to The Simpsons. It's talking about the game of telephone, where as the game of telephone continues, things get crazier and crazier, and eventually you end up with some nonsensical word. But in the principle of social media woke outrage, here's what happens. J.K. Rowling says something offensive. People then write, or offensive, I guess fake offensive, but then people write about it saying, oh, I'm so angry, oh, harumph, I say. Those articles get a bunch of attention. Everybody wants to know what's going on, so they click the article with J.K. Rowling and say, why is everybody mad? In order to get more traffic, you need to one-up the game. So then articles started popping up saying, it may have been anti-Semitic to depict little bankers as greedy hook-nosed goblins, right? But then using the same principle, in order to get more traffic from this concept, 6 days later, we can see how media evolves. I've talked about this before. It's a really good example of this media principle where it happened to Donald Trump, right? The first thing they write is, Donald Trump maybe, says something that some people say is racist. And it gets, he says something offensive. The next day, they want to get another million views. They can't write the same article. And they can't write a lighter article saying, no, it was a mistake. Trump's not a bigot. It needs to be more shocking. So they say, is Donald Trump racist? 2 days later, Donald Trump is racist. 2 days later, Donald Trump is the worst racist. And then finally, Trump is literally Hitler. That's what we're seeing right here. First, J.K. Rowling's a bigot. She's a TERF. Was it anti-Semitic for her to do the goblins this way? And then finally, we have this. No, it literally was. Now, I'll admit, take a look at this picture. And I gotta say, I don't think they're wrong in trying to argue that it was anti-Semitic to make wrinkled-faced, hook-nosed little goblins working as bankers, because I think it does fall in line with old anti-Semitic propaganda. But I don't think it was on purpose. I don't even think that it was J.K. Rowling who made the depictions of the goblins. When she wrote the book, I don't know what was in her head. When I think of the word goblin, I imagine little green creatures, like World of Warcraft or Lord of the Rings or something. But I guess that's how they view goblins. They're just short, humanoid, pale, gray-haired, big-nosed creatures. And yeah, it's really weird because the noses aren't hooked, they're not pointy, a lot of depiction of goblins, they're green creatures, they're twisted faces. No, these just look like people, wrinkly old people. It's kind of weird. But I'll show you something. I'm going to give a shout out to my friends over at the GamerGhazi subreddit. You may be familiar with GamerGhazi. They refer to themselves as SJWs. And they posted a link to this article. It's actually how I found it. And the top comment says, if someone would have posted this a year or so ago, I would have argued that at the very worst, it was unintentional. After the past year, no effing way. Rowling must be a Corbyn supporter, and it's got 2 upvotes. For those that aren't familiar, Jeremy Corbyn was leading the Labour Party, and people call him, well, he's an anti-Semite, right? No, she thinks supporting Corbyn is the same as supporting Trump, dirty liberal that she is, whatever. The point is, at least one person who tweeted is saying she must have done this on purpose. Now, let's be real, okay? She did consult on it, it's my understanding. Like, they said, here's what we're gonna do, here's what we're gonna make, what do you think? And she said, go for it. I'm not entirely sure. She went there and said, to me, a goblin is a short individual with a big nose and a pinstripe suit who covets gold and works in a bank. I don't think that's literally what she said. I think she did write it. Actually, no, I take that back. I mean, she did write the description of the goblins. That was probably, look at this picture. It's so nuts. Okay, and they have in this article, like they have, this is amazing. They actually show, to prove it is, old school anti-Semitic propaganda to prove. So let's read. From Pop Dust, they write, you too can experience the wonder of entering through vaulted bank doors and handing your hard-earned coin to greedy money-grubbing little men with long, crooked noses, receding hairlines, and shifty eyes. Okay, when it's written out like that, it sounds very anti-Semitic, but don't worry, these aren't Jews. They're goblins. Sure, the goblins' traits sound similar to Nazi-era propaganda, but that's probably because they both play off banking tropes. It's not like they look similar. They show this. Oh, damn. The Gringotts goblins are totally coded as anti-Semitic Jewish stereotypes. Here's the thing. J.K. Rowling almost definitely didn't do this intentionally. Okay, that's fair. If anything, the Harry Potter novels are, by and large, anti-fascist in nature. Voldemort is a dictator aiming to eradicate half-blooded wizards. Not true. He wants to get rid of like the messy. He wants wizard superiority basically. It doesn't get more blatant than that. Rowling also borrowed and pastiched from all sorts of fantasy and folklore while writing Harry Potter. So it's likely that a lot of the goblins' more anti-Semitic features are actually related to older fantasy fare surrounding bankers. It just so happens that those were probably inspired by anti-Jewish propaganda. Of course, the intention hardly matters. The fact of the matter is that the Gringotts goblins are absolutely coded as anti-Semitic Jewish stereotypes, propelling an image that has been and continues to be used against Jewish people by supporters of racist and nationalist ideologies. This goes beyond mere physical imagery too. I'm just gonna stop here. It's so strange to me that they're trying to make nationalist like anti-Semitic. It's like, dude, everybody has a country and they wave their flag. I can go to literally any country in the world and they have a flag. Like, what? It's a weird thing to try and shoehorn in here. If you want to talk about, like, I don't know, supremacist groups and anti-Semitic conspiracy theorists, which can exist on the left or the right, fine. Certainly, you've got left-wing anti-Semites who are total globalists, and then they say globalist is also anti-Semitic. You know what, man? These people are all nuts. In Sorcerer's Stone, the caring Hogwarts groundskeeper Hagrid, who raises monsters of passion, warns Harry about the goblins before he enters Gringotts. They're goblins, Harry. Clever as they come, goblins, but not the most friendly of beasts. This is especially biting, considering the fact that in the world of Harry Potter, goblins are not beasts, but rather a fully sentient, intelligent race much like humans. So are you saying they're saying Hagrid is racist? In Goblet of Fire, we learn about goblin creditors who hold debts in the highest regard and are willing to pursue a debtor to the end of the earth, taking everything he has if he cannot repay them, as was the case with Ludo Bagman. In Deathly Hallows, Griphook, the only goblin we come to know personally, betrays Harry by turning him over to the Gringotts guards when Harry tries to destroy one of Voldemort's Horcruxes. This happens after Harry saved Griphook's life, showing that goblins have little loyalty outside of that to money. Ultimately, the depiction of goblins in Harry Potter is extremely negative. Not only are they physically repulsive, but they are sneaky, dangerous, and disloyal, caring only about themselves and their money. These traits are identical to the anti-Semitic propaganda that is spread throughout history. So here's the point, okay? I don't need to go through this whole thing. You may have actually heard about this before, that she's been accused of making anti-Semitic tropes. I'm gonna tell you something. I could be wrong. I'm not super familiar with a depiction of goblins in this way outside of Harry Potter. Like in World of Warcraft, goblins are green. They have big ears and big noses. They're engineers. They are greedy, but they're not suit-wearing pinstripe bankers. So, I mean, maybe I'm just wrong about that. I've played Magic the Gathering my whole life. Goblins in Magic the Gathering are also like oafish, club-wielding green creatures. They're not bankers with white skin, gray hair, and trading gold. That's something very different. So, I'm not going to accuse J.K. Rowling. The point of this video is just to highlight one important fact. When J.K. Rowling crossed the woke left, this is what happened. Because this movie has been around for a very, very long, the movies, they've been around forever. Why now? Why now are they coming out at J.K. Rowling accusing her of this anti-Semitic trope? This is how the machine churns. Look at this, December 19th, December 25th. This is how the machine churns. They don't care if you're a bigot or make tropes so long as you bend the knee to them when they ask. But then when you actually say something out of line and you offend their religion, they will dig through your past and all of these articles will start popping up. Welcome to the gravy train, J.K. Rowling. Money is to be made in pointing out that you're a bigot. And that's what's coming next. But you reap what you sow. You played the game. You fueled it. You helped them. You retconned things. And what do you think's going to happen next? I don't know. I'll leave it there. Stick around. I got a couple more segments coming up in a few minutes, and I will see you all shortly.